Helena Glenn, at the age of 64, was thrust into a challenging and unexpected role when she became the primary caregiver for her granddaughter following the tragic deaths of her son and daughter-in-law. This devastating event shattered Helena's world, a situation that was further exacerbated when the Guardianship Council intervened, arguing that Helena was incapable of providing adequate care for the child. This led to the heart-wrenching moment when the child was taken from her. However, the turning point in this ordeal came when the young girl was permitted to address the court. Her poignant testimony left everyone in the courtroom deeply moved, challenging their preconceptions and showcasing the depth of her relationship with her grandmother. The Glenn's story is not a typical one. Residing in Yellowknife, a quaint town nestled in the heart of Canada's rugged mountains, the family carved out a unique existence. Helena, her husband, and their young daughter thrived in this remote setting, drawing sustenance and emotional fulfillment from the majestic landscapes that surrounded them. Their profession as mountain guides offered them a unique opportunity to share the beauty of Canada's lesser-known regions with tourists from around the globe. They led expeditions to capture the awe-inspiring northern lights and navigated treacherous trails, offering their clients a glimpse into the raw beauty of nature. Witnessing the joy and wonder in their clients' eyes as they beheld the northern lights or conquered a challenging trail was immensely rewarding for the couple, far outweighing any material compensation. However, their profession was fraught with peril. The mountainous terrain presented a myriad of dangers, from potential encounters with wildlife to the risk of avalanches and falling through ice crevices. It was during one such expedition, on a seemingly benign sunny afternoon, that tragedy struck. A tourist in their group suffered an accident, resulting in a broken ankle that rendered him immobile. Forced to wait for rescue with the injured tourist, the couple and a third guide faced an unexpected and severe weather change. A blizzard was approaching, and the conditions on the mountain rapidly deteriorated. The wind's intensity escalated, causing the temperature to plummet and making rescue efforts by air or ground virtually impossible. The couple tried to maintain a calm demeanor for the sake of the injured boy, but the perilous situation was unmistakable. When the blizzard unleashed its fury on the city below, it was only a matter of time before it engulfed the mountain, threatening to erase all traces of them. It wasn't until 13 hours later, when the storm abated, that a rescue helicopter was finally able to reach their last known location. The rescue team conducted a thorough search, but initially, there was no sign of the couple or the boy. Just as hope was fading, a rescuer spotted something that reignited their efforts. This moment marked the beginning of a desperate race against time to find the trio before the unforgiving wilderness could claim them. He carefully pulled the glove from the ground, revealing an extended arm to which it was attached, indicating that assistance had arrived too late. This act of uncovering suggested that the situation had already escalated beyond the point of immediate help, unveiling a dire scenario that unfolded with the discovery of the arm. The gentle yet firm action of removing the glove underscored the gravity of the moment, as the unveiling brought to light a critical situation that had unfortunately not been addressed in time. Ellie, the young daughter of a working couple, was only 4 years old when she found herself under the care of a nanny due to her parents' busy schedules. Tragically, her grandparents were thrust into a nightmare when the police arrived to deliver the devastating news of her parents' untimely deaths. Ellie's grandmother, Helena Glenn, was a vibrant and dedicated 64-year-old who maintained a strong bond with her family despite not venturing out often, thanks to daily video chats with her son and granddaughter. Helena, who was employed at a travel agency, faced the heart-wrenching moment of learning about the loss of her son and daughter-in-law amidst her workday, an event that led her to an unprecedented display of grief. Helena's resilience had been previously tested by her husband Henry's accident, which left him wheelchair-bound. Yet, the sorrow of losing a child was an incomparable ordeal. Throughout the funeral, Ellie remained silent and tearless, leaving her family to ponder the depth of her understanding and sorrow over the situation. Helena's promise to take care of Ellie forever was heartfelt, though the practicalities of their new life arrangement posed significant challenges. Adjusting to a new reality, Ellie had to move into Helena's modest home, where her own room was no longer available. Financial constraints forced Helena to make difficult decisions, such as withdrawing Ellie from her French course and changing schools, further compounding the changes in the young girl's life. Despite these hardships, Helena endeavored to provide a nurturing environment for Ellie, even managing to find toys for her at the local Salvation Army bazaar. Henry, Ellie's grandfather, did what he could to engage with her, though his physical limitations meant he couldn't replicate the active play she once enjoyed with her father. As time passed, Helena grew increasingly concerned about Ellie's silence and lack of communication since moving in. Approaching a year since the tragic shift in their lives, this concern became a topic of conversation between Helena and her coworker, Amber, highlighting the ongoing struggle to navigate grief and adapt to a new normal within the family. Believing that silence was a standard behavior for a 4-year-old, the assumption was made that this was her method of coping with the trauma she had experienced. "Poor thing, isn't it?" inquired a woman, breaking into Helena's train of thought. These interruptions often left Helena doubting herself, pondering over the possibility that perhaps she was not handling the situation correctly, and that maybe, the fault lay with her. This self-doubt only deepened Helena's worry, making her concern for the child even more evident. When the teacher at Ellie's new school called her grandparents' house, demanding to speak with the girl's mother urgently, Helena felt uneasy. She hesitated to explain where Ellie's mother was and simply stated that she could handle the situation. "All right, so be it. I'm calling to ask about how Ellie is at home. Does she communicate well with her parents? Does she play actively at home?" the teacher inquired. Everything worsened when Helena responded that the girl hadn't started talking yet. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but this is not normal. A girl her age should be talking and forming well-articulated sentences. I recommend you take her to a doctor as soon as possible so that appropriate treatment can be administered," said the teacher. Helena promptly made an appointment for that same week. The pediatrician was very polite during the care and examinations, which gave the grandmother more confidence. "I'm very sorry, Mrs. Helena," said the doctor while Ellie waited in the reception area. "But Ellie's symptoms are very similar to those of a child suffering from post-traumatic stress. Her physical health is perfect, but what happened to her parents was a tragedy that we cannot ignore." Helena was terrified by this revelation. She wanted to know what she could do to help her granddaughter improve her speech and become the sociable young lady she used to be. The doctor advised her to give Ellie her full attention for the time being. He asked that she keep talking to the little girl, always encouraging her, even when she didn't respond. This, he suggested, might make Ellie more comfortable speaking in the future. He also recommended regular visits to a psychologist. While everything appeared to have a solution, Helena quickly realized she would need two things she lacked: time and money. Giving Ellie her undivided attention would take time away from her workday, and psychologist appointments would cost money, putting the grandparents in debt. Helena confided in her husband, Henry, about what was going on, expressing her concern. "I don't know how to fix it," she admitted. Henry assured her that they would figure it out. "I'll get a job if I have to. I know no one wants to hire an elderly man in a wheelchair, but I can try. Our granddaughter needs us, and we've been through it all," he declared confidently, holding his wife's hand. Despite their resolve, the reality was far more challenging. The grandparents struck a balance between talking to their granddaughter and giving her space, encouraging her to the best of their abilities. They went out of their way to make Ellie feel not only at ease but also loved and safe. Although they adored the girl, trying to get her to express herself was exhausting. However, they celebrated the small strides she made along the way. It was evident from the start that Helena could see a spark in the young girl's eyes, a desire to share her thoughts and feelings with the world. Both Helena and her husband, Henry, were more than willing to sacrifice everything they had for the sake of their beloved granddaughter, Ellie. The transformation in Ellie was noticeable. Her smiles became less timid and more frequent, particularly when Helena shared tales from her own youth while preparing meals. Helena devoted herself entirely to Ellie's well-being, so much so that she became oblivious to the storm brewing in her own professional life. On an unsuspecting Friday, the unexpected happened. The owner of the travel agency where Helena had been employed for years called her into the office. Without mincing words, she informed Helena of her termination. Shock and disbelief were evident on Helena's face. She knew she had been somewhat distracted by her responsibilities towards Ellie in recent months, occasionally leaving work early or arriving late. Her colleagues were sympathetic, understanding the immense effort Helena was putting into caring for her granddaughter's psychological well-being. "This is a business, and without results, it will fail," the agency's new, younger director explained bluntly. Helena was taken aback. Losing her job was the last thing she needed, especially at a time when her family's financial stability was already precarious. Having been a cornerstone of the agency since its foundation, Helena sought a more genuine explanation for her dismissal. Despite her loyalty and years of service, she was told harshly that she had become a dinosaur within the company, no longer as efficient or relevant as she used to be. Moreover, her preoccupation with her personal life was seen as a distraction. "From Monday, a college friend will replace you. You have been fired," the director stated coldly. Desperate to retain her source of income, Helena pleaded through tears, explaining the dire consequences losing her job would have on her ability to support Henry and Ellie. However, the director's response was even more heartless, suggesting that Helena should give Ellie up for adoption and let the universe take care of it. Devastated, Helena left the office immediately, unwilling to endure another moment of such cruelty. Faced with the daunting reality of how she would afford Ellie's therapy and Henry's medication, Helena struggled to find the courage to share the news with her husband. The walk home gave her time to ponder her next steps, and upon arriving, she acted swiftly. Helena left her house again, this time to knock on every door within her neighborhood, seeking any form of employment. Helena's determination was fueled by her love for her family. She knew that giving up was not an option, and she was ready to do whatever it took to ensure their well-being. Her journey from door to door symbolized not just a search for work, but a testament to her unwavering strength and commitment to those she held dear. In the course of their conversation, she freely shared her contact information and delved into her employment history, demonstrating her versatility and capability in various roles. She highlighted her experience and skills in cleaning, serving as a chambermaid, cooking, and caregiving. Expressing her openness and determination, she conveyed her readiness to undertake any job necessary. Her primary motivation was clear: she needed to earn money to support her family. Unbeknownst to Helena, Henry was moved by her situation and committed himself to assist her. He leveraged his network, reaching out to every contact he had in pursuit of a suitable employment opportunity for her. The grandfather, whose bond with his granddaughter was profound, was determined to safeguard the progress they had made together and ensure that nothing compromised their situation. Despite the unwavering hope that the man held, it seemed that fate was not yet done putting the resilience of his family to the test. Helena, struggling to secure permanent employment, resorted to ironing clothes and doing laundry for her neighbors to make ends meet. It was during one of her busiest moments, her hands deep in work, that the doorbell rang. Hurrying to answer, Helena was confronted by a guardianship agent holding a complaint and a court order for the removal of her granddaughter, Ellie. "Good afternoon, ma'am. We have been informed by the school that the conditions at your home do not meet the standards required for raising a child. Our investigation has revealed that the child is isolated, barely communicates, and has become a target for bullying. Moreover, considering your age, unemployment status, and the fact that you are also caring for an elderly individual, it raises concerns about your ability to provide for the child. There's a real risk she might face neglect in terms of basic needs. Therefore, as a precautionary measure, we must take the child to a protective shelter," the agent explained. Frozen in shock, Helena tried to intervene, placing herself between the officers and her granddaughter, but her attempts were futile. Ellie's silence seemed to affirm the agent's concerns, leading to her being taken away. The look of pleading in Ellie's eyes as she was separated from her grandmother was heart-wrenching. The news devastated Helena and Henry, who had just awakened from his nap. Overcome with sorrow, he could find no words of comfort for his wife. Their only course of action was to secure a public defender and fight for Ellie's return. The days that followed were bleak and hollow, as if life had lost its color overnight. I refused to let them take my granddaughter from me. Although I may not be able to provide everything in the best way possible, I was making progress. Ellie and I need each other, and I will make that clear to anyone who doubts it, Helena resolved, steeling herself for the upcoming court hearing. In court, Helena narrated their family's series of unfortunate events, from her son's tragic death to her struggle to make ends meet, and the eventual arrival of the guardianship officials. When the judge called Ellie to speak, the room fell into an expectant silence, hoping the young girl would say something. But silence prevailed. The judge, trying a different approach, asked Ellie directly if she loved her grandmother, the woman anxiously awaiting her answer in the courtroom. The tension was palpable as everyone awaited Ellie's response, hoping for a sign that would sway the judge's decision in Helena's favor. With her gaze cast downward, the young girl enveloped herself in silence. The judge's voice broke the quiet. If there's anything kind you'd like to share about your grandmother, now's the time. But if not, silence is perfectly acceptable. The girl chose not to speak, her quietude lending the judge the assurance needed to proceed with his judgment. It was determined that Helena, the grandmother, was unfit to care for Ellie, leading to the decision to place the child in a foster system. No, please, you don't understand. We need each other, Helena implored desperately, but her cries fell on deaf ears. The public defender beside her remained motionless, offering no support beyond having arranged the hearing. As officers escorted Helena away, trying to prevent the situation from escalating further, despair hung heavy in the room. Just when all seemed lost, a soft, unexpected voice pierced the heavy silence. "Don't take my grandmother away," Ellie spoke with unexpected conviction, stunning everyone present. "I want to stay with my grandmother." "I love you, Grandma," she reaffirmed. The judge sighed deeply, and Helena, released from the officer's grasp, rushed to Ellie. Embracing her granddaughter, Helena vowed never to separate from her again. In a moment of resolve, Helena petitioned for an appeal directly to the judge. Though initially firm in his decision, the judge reconsidered, acknowledging the potential error in separating the family. He advised Helena to pursue legal action not only against the travel agency that had unjustly fired her but also against her former employer for clear labor law violations and discrimination. Taking the judge's advice to heart, Helena initiated legal proceedings. Several months later, victory was hers. The lawsuit's favorable outcome allowed her to improve their living conditions significantly, adding a new room for Ellie. With the compensation received, Helena secured a pension and dedicated herself to spending more quality time with her granddaughter. Encouraging Ellie to express herself more, Helena was determined to leave past traumas behind, ensuring a future filled with love and happiness for them both. Helena's unwavering commitment promised Ellie a life enriched with moments of joy and unwavering familial love. After watching this story, what do you think of? Then there is another story about a girl inherited an old barn from his beloved grandfather. Let's expect what will happen. Growing up in a tight-knit family on their ancestral farmland, Emily shared a unique and cherished bond with her grandfather. Their days were filled with laughter, hard work, and the comforting embrace of the sprawling fields and rustic barns that dotted the landscape. However, when her beloved grandfather passed away, Emily's world was shaken to its core. Amidst the grief and loss, Emily was dealt another blow when she learned of her grandfather's will. While her brothers inherited the family house and most of the lands, Emily was left with only the small barn. It was a bitter pill to swallow, leaving her feeling overlooked and undervalued in the eyes of her family. Yet, despite the unfairness of the situation, Emily found solace in the familiar routines of farm life. Each day, she would rise with the sun, tending to the animals, mending fences, and immersing herself in the timeless rhythms of the land. The farm became her sanctuary, a place where she could escape the complexities of the world and find solace in the simplicity of nature. It was during one of these quiet moments in the barn that Emily stumbled upon a hidden treasure that would change everything. Tucked away in a forgotten corner, she discovered her grandfather's old journal, its pages yellowed with age and filled with his handwritten notes and sketches. As she pored over its contents, Emily was transported back in time, reliving the memories of her childhood and reconnecting with her grandfather's wisdom. In the pages of the journal, Emily found a wealth of knowledge passed down through generations of her family. From forgotten farming techniques to tales of resilience and perseverance, each entry offered a glimpse into her family's rich heritage. It was a revelation that filled Emily with a renewed sense of purpose and determination to honor her grandfather's legacy. Armed with the knowledge gleaned from the journal, Emily set out to breathe new life into the farm. With unwavering determination and a deep reverence for the land, she embarked on a journey of restoration and renewal. She tended to the soil with care, embracing traditional farming practices and cultivating the land with love and respect. As the seasons changed and the farm began to thrive once more, Emily's efforts did not go unnoticed. The local community marveled at the miraculous transformation taking place before their eyes, inspired by Emily's resilience and dedication to preserving her family's legacy. In the end, Emily realized that her grandfather's greatest gift was not the land he left her, but the wisdom and heritage he passed down through the pages of his journal. Through his teachings, Emily discovered her true calling and found purpose in carrying on her family's legacy for generations to come. However, Emily was not one to dwell on the negative. With a heavy heart but a hopeful spirit, she decided to visit the barn that now belonged to her. When Emily approached the old barn, memories of her childhood flooded back. She remembered playing in the fields, the smell of fresh hay, and the sound of her grandfather's laughter echoing through the air. The barn, weathered by time, stood as a testament to the generations of her family that had worked the land. With each step closer, her apprehension grew. What could possibly be inside that old barn that made her grandfather leave it specifically to her? Unlocking the rusty padlock, Emily pushed open the creaky barn doors. What she saw inside took her breath away. The barn was filled with an incredible collection of antiques, vintage farm equipment, and personal memorabilia that her grandfather had accumulated over the years. Each item had a story, a piece of history that Mr. Thompson had cherished. It was as if he had left her a treasure trove of memories, a tangible connection to the past and to him. Among the items, Emily found a beautifully crafted chest. Inside, there were letters and photographs, some of which were of her and her grandfather together, capturing moments of joy and love. There was also a handwritten note from Mr. Thompson, expressing his deep affection for Emily and explaining why he had left her the barn. He believed that she, more than anyone, would appreciate and preserve the legacy within its walls. This discovery transformed Emily's perception of her inheritance. What initially seemed like a slight was, in fact, the most profound expression of her grandfather's love and trust in her. The barn was not just a building, it was a repository of her family's history and her grandfather's life. It held more value than any piece of land could. Emily realized that her grandfather had given her a unique and precious gift, entrusting her with the preservation of their family's heritage. Embracing her new role as the keeper of her family's legacy, Emily set out to restore the barn and organize the collection. She worked tirelessly, cleaning, cataloging, and creating a space where the history and stories of her family could be celebrated. The project brought her closer to her grandfather than ever before, and she felt his presence guiding her through the process. The barn became a local attraction, a place where people from the community could come to learn about the history of the land and the Thompson family. Emily organized exhibitions, storytelling evenings, and educational workshops, sharing the rich tapestry of her family's past with others. Through this endeavor, Emily not only preserved her grandfather's legacy but also found her own purpose and passion. She had turned what she initially perceived as an act of betrayal into a life-changing opportunity, forever grateful for the unique inheritance her grandfather had bestowed upon her. As time went by, the pang of sorrow and disillusionment clung to Emily, refusing to dissipate. She was perplexed and wounded by her grandfather's decision to bequeath the barn to her, while her brothers received the family estate. This disparity weighed heavily on her, imbuing her with a sense of being less valued by her grandfather compared to her siblings. Overwhelmed by these thoughts, Emily retreated to the solitude of her bedroom, tears streaming down her face. Why would Grandpa do this? Didn't he see me as equal to Mark and Thomas? She pondered, grappling with feelings of rejection and confusion. The news of Emily's inheritance quickly became the talk of the Thompson family, leading to a noticeable shift in dynamics. Her brothers, James and Andrew, seized every opportunity to belittle her inheritance with snide remarks. They ridiculed her about the prospect of living in an antiquated, dusty barn, highlighting the disparity in their inheritances with a cruel glee. Their taunts cut deep, exacerbating Emily's sense of alienation and devaluation. At family gatherings, the situation only worsened. James and Andrew would craftily slip in jibes about Emily's new residence, eliciting laughter from some relatives. Despite her best efforts to remain unaffected, each jab felt like a fresh wound. Emily increasingly felt like an outsider within her own family, the sting of their jests eroding her self-esteem and deepening her sense of isolation. The constant ridicule served not just as a reminder of her unique inheritance but also as a barrier, making her feel misunderstood and distanced from those she once felt close to. With her confidence shaken, Emily knew she had to find a new place to live. Despite the sentimental value of the barn, it wasn't a practical living space. Gathering her courage, Emily decided to approach her brothers, James and Andrew, hoping for compassion and support during this difficult time. One evening after dinner, Emily sat down with her brothers and explained her situation. She understood that they had inherited the house and was genuinely happy for them. However, she needed some time to get back on her feet and asked if she could stay in the house for a little while until she figured things out. Emily's voice carried vulnerability as she hoped for understanding and support. To her dismay, James and Andrew responded with laughter and ridicule, deeming her request ridiculous. Their contemptuous reaction pierced Emily's heart, intensifying her pain. They suggested that she could stay in the barn but would have to pay rent like any other tenant. Feeling rejected and hurt by their lack of compassion, Emily couldn't comprehend why her own brothers were treating her so harshly in her time of need. Despite Emily's attempts to reason with them and remind them of their familial bond, James and Andrew showed no remorse, insisting on their entitlement to the house. Feeling deeply hurt and rejected, Emily left the room, struggling to hold back tears. The encounter left a deep rift between her and her brothers, causing her to question the bonds of family and the support she had always assumed she could count on. Retreating to the quiet sanctuary of her old bedroom, Emily couldn't help but wonder how things had gone so wrong. Despite her brother's ridicule and rejection, Emily felt determined to prove her worth and uncover the true value of the barn. Seeking solace in the memories of her grandfather, Emily ventured into the old barn, where she had shared countless cherished moments with him. As she explored further, she accidentally stumbled upon a loose floorboard, revealing a hidden compartment underneath. With her heart racing, Emily realized that the barn held secrets and mysteries waiting to be uncovered. When Emily reached into the forgotten nook of the old barn, her fingers brushed against a collection of faded letters, their edges worn by time, all bound together by a ribbon that seemed to have weathered many storms. Her hands trembled with a mixture of anticipation and excitement as she carefully untied the ribbon, revealing the heartfelt correspondence nestled within. Each letter, lovingly addressed to her, was penned by her grandfather at different moments throughout her life. Tears blurred her vision as she read, absorbing the words that spoke of his immense pride in her accomplishments, his unwavering belief in her capabilities, and his deep, abiding love for her. As Emily unfolded the last letter, she uncovered the heartfelt intention behind her grandfather's decision to bequeath the barn to her. He had recognized her special bond with the old structure and desired it to stand as a testament to the strength and resilience he saw in her. Clasping the letters close to her heart, Emily was profoundly moved by her grandfather's love and wisdom. But as she delved deeper into the hidden compartment, she stumbled upon an unexpected treasure amidst the letters, neatly stacked bundles of money. Her astonishment was palpable as she realized her grandfather had left her not just a legacy of memories but also a financial inheritance. Wiping away tears, Emily found a note attached to an old photograph, its words etching themselves into her heart. Her grandfather expressed his unwavering faith in her strength and determination, hoping the letters and the money would remind her of her capacity to achieve anything. The barn, he wrote, was more than a repository of memories, it symbolized the promise of a bright future. His note further revealed his vision for the barn and the money he had saved, encouraging Emily to revive the family farm business, confident in its potential success under her stewardship. Emboldened by her grandfather's words, Emily felt a surge of purpose and determination wash over her. She understood now that her destiny was intertwined with that of the barn, and she was determined to honor her grandfather's legacy. Armed with his love, encouragement, and the financial means he provided, Emily was ready to embark on a transformative journey. With a renewed sense of hope and optimism, Emily recognized that her grandfather's legacy encompassed not just the physical structure of the barn but also his profound faith in her abilities. Motivated by his love and belief in her, Emily resolved to unlock the barn's hidden potential and transform it into a beacon of resilience, love, and cherished memories for future generations. Her journey, fueled by determination and hard work, was set to redefine the legacy of the barn and make her grandfather proud. While Emily made her way back to the house, clutching the bundle of letters and money close to her chest, she felt a surge of determination fueled by her grandfather's words and legacy. With a newfound sense of purpose, she resolved to use the unexpected inheritance to breathe new life into her grandfather's failed business on the farm. Driven by her grandfather's unwavering belief in her potential, Emily wasted no time in getting to work. Each day, she rose with the sun, the letters serving as a constant reminder of her purpose. Despite facing numerous challenges, from inclement weather to equipment malfunctions, Emily persevered with unyielding determination. As the seasons passed, Emily's hard work began to yield promising results. The once desolate fields flourished under her care, transforming into vibrant expanses of greenery. The farm's produce became renowned for its exceptional quality, attracting the attention of local buyers and distributors. With the arrival of the first harvest season, Emily's excitement and nerves reached a crescendo. She poured her heart and soul into every aspect of the farm, eager to see the fruits of her labor come to fruition. As trucks lined up to collect the bountiful harvest, Emily watched with pride, knowing that she had breathed new life into her grandfather's legacy. As word of Emily's success spread, her brothers James and Andrew began to take notice. They were astonished by the transformation that had occurred on the farm, realizing the true value of their grandfather's inheritance. Filled with remorse for their past actions, they approached Emily with heartfelt apologies, acknowledging their mistakes and expressing their desire to make amends. Tears of forgiveness and reconciliation flowed freely as Emily embraced her brothers, grateful for their newfound understanding and support. Together, they worked tirelessly to further expand the farm's success, honoring their grandfather's legacy and strengthening their bond as siblings. In the end, Emily's journey served as a testament to the power of perseverance, love, and familial unity. With her grandfather's letters as her guiding light, she had transformed the old barn into a thriving symbol of resilience and hope. As she looked out over the flourishing fields, Emily knew that her grandfather's spirit lived on in every blade of grass and every bountiful harvest, a lasting legacy of love and determination.